You might be wondering, what is a guy like me doing in a place like this? And why is he doing that with several dozen stacks of buttons? And from that question, I would assume that you've never seen a wither skeleton farm made before, because what I'm doing right now is spawn proofing. A little while ago, I was looking for a good nether fortress to come out and grab a bunch of wither skeleton skulls, and I happened to locate this one here, which is right in the middle of a warped forest biome with very little other biome coverage around it. Kind of the perfect location for a wither skeleton farm in my experience, because you don't have to worry about other mob spawns. You just end up with endermen, and they have a relatively slim mob cap, so this fortress is absolutely teeming with activity. The problem with that being that if it's a wither skeleton farm, you don't want it to be teeming with activity, except in a couple of very specific places, and so I'm using buttons to spawn proof the remainder of the structure of the fortress so we can concentrate the wither skeleton spawns in a very specific small area. And the reason I'm doing that with buttons as opposed to slabs, which are slightly cheaper to craft, is that buttons are simply less difficult to mess up the placement. If I hold down right click and walk backwards with slabs, sooner or later I will end up placing a double slab. Like, I'll back up into something, I'll need to break this. Frankly, I find slabs less convenient to work with than buttons. Buttons are also easy to craft. You can do it in a 2x2 instead of in a 3x3. Your other question might be, why am I spawn proofing this fortress at all when there are easier ways of making it with the skeleton farms? Well, the answer is I want this to be bizarrely productive. And for that to be the case, spawn proofing is going to be quite an effective measure. As you can see, there are a lot of mobs spawning out here on the arms of the nether fortress, which I have not yet spawn proofed or removed. The platform in here is going to be several layers of netherrack, hopefully all populated with wither roses eventually, and it's a good thing that I'm picking up the occasional wither skeleton skull from this adventure, because I'll need to probably spawn the wither a couple of times to get enough wither roses. However, chugging fire resistance potions and placing buttons is going to be my life for the next little while. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to take you to a couple of clips I've been recording elsewhere on the server with the Hermit, starting with a fortuitous meeting with the one and only Rendog.
Mr. Riffs!
The voice of Rendog, where are you, buddy?
Hello!
Oh.
Hi!
Oh my goodness, you found yourself landlocked, sir.
I am the worst boater there is.
You've made it nonetheless. Hi, welcome to the Froglight Orchard.
Yes, excellent. Oh man, this place looks sweet.
Yeah, it's really nice at night. We do wonderful wine and cheese parties out here in the glow of the trees.
Well, I spotted your dodos the other day. You brought one over to my island too. It pooped everywhere, just, by the way.
I'm sorry, they tend to do that. That's hence the composters around here. I've been making good use of it as fertilizer.
Are you in the mood for a bargain?
Oh, I'm always in the mood for a bargain, Ren.
Within the depths of this thing, you might find something that could interest you. Yes.
And these are all your first items.
This is exactly that, exactly. These are literally the first giblets that I acquired for myself on my first week on the Empire server. So this is literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get your hands on Rendog's giblets.
Well, and such fine giblets they are too. I mean, look at this. We got some precious materials in here. We've got some of your first tools. This is, it's an archaeologist's dream, I tell you.
It is really. Each of these items too comes with a story, because each of them I had to fight tooth and nail to acquire, Pixlriffs. Many a time did an undead freak attempt to stop me in my path to acquire these things. And they're extremely rare and fantastic.
Yeah, and the occasional salmon I see as well. That's, I bet there's a heck of a story behind that.
Well, that salmon put up one heck of a fight, let me tell you. One of the deadliest, most scary salmons that I've ever fought. It was about 50 feet high. It even had a sword in its fin. Wow. It tried to take my head off, Pixlriffs.
Oh my goodness, wow.
I slayed it with my bare hands.
I'm amazed that you're here to tell the tale. I'd love to take some of this collection off your hands, for sure, like a couple.
Well, okay, easy there. Some is a bit much. How about maybe we do one of them?
Just one? I mean, you'd be you're splitting up the collection at that point. I mean, surely, like as an entire collection, as a complete offering, it has so much more value.
As a Magic the Gathering player, it hurts my soul to tear the collection asunder. However, it must be done because I myself do love them. Also, I don't want to get rid of all of them right now. Okay, I can part with one. Come with me, if you will, into the depths of this frog-light swamp. Here is my offer. You take one of my most rarest giblets, and I'll take one of the dodos. Because I really like them. them. They're super cute.
They are.
I want one.
They are very cute, and one of them has been kind of giving you the eye. I think since you've been here, I think there's a dodo
really?
that might have taken a fancy to you. I think it's like they
Go
they
on.
tend to bond a little bit, and this one over here has been looking in your direction.
Well, she doesn't look that interested. She's just turned her butt at me.
I mean,
Is it because I'm small, Pixlriffs? Look at me. I've been shrunken. I've been squished.
you have been squished, haven't you? Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit.
Look at this.
Well, I mean,
I look like your son.
well, don't talk to me and my son ever again. No, I think the dodos are fine.
I grew a beard at the age of 2.
The dodos are fine with a variety of riders, though. I think they're more than happy to take riders of average height, let's say.
So the dodos are Hermobit friendly?
Yes, they absolutely are. And
Oh, hello there, baby. What's happening? Oh, look at her.
Yeah, see,
she's coming for a smooch.
She's she's getting familiar with you, getting introduced. Here, feed her a golden carrot. They love the golden carrots. You can see them all doing the happy
excuse me,
dance.
back up, everybody.
Yeah.
Back up. You want one of these?
Oh, there you
she
go.
loves it.
Yes.
She loves it. Okay, hold on.
Love at first sight.
Let's get acquainted. Oh, I think I might be inside of a tree. Okay, here we go.
There you
Oh,
go.
look at this.
Oh, what a turn of speed as well. Oh my
Look
goodness.
at this. She's flying, baby. Look at this. Okay, awesome.
Spreading her wings and oh my
Hold
goodness.
on. Oh my God.
Whoa. Okay. That is one heck of a jump. I was not aware she was such a good jumper.
Oh, she's fantastic. She's a joyous, wondrous specimen of a dodo.
Yeah, there you go.
Whom I shall name Deirdre the dodo.
Oh, very good. Very good. I like
She
it.
is thus named.
Which of these would you be keen to part with? Which of these should we think is an adequate trade for the dodo?
Sorry, what?
I think I need to take something that's got some material value. I think it needs to be something
Come here, Deirdre.
like something kind of momentous for a Minecrafter's journey through life. And I honestly think
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe the first ore. I think that's such an interesting artifact of your journey that I think that would be a perfect exchange for the dodo. So what do we say?
9th in the collection. Mm-hmm. And I had to battle an undead troll beast within a deep, dark cave to achieve that.
Really?
Destroyed
Oh,
it by shoving a stalactite directly into its eyeball and eviscerating its brain.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's got to go next to this item in the museum. I think that's a story that deserves to be retold to future generations.
Well, that was like my favorite one, but okay, fine.
I mean,
You can have it.
this might have been my favorite dodo. I mean, she's
Her name is Deirdre.
there. You go. All right, she has a name now, and she's all yours.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess that's a deal. Look at this. She's a battle dodo. I shall ride forth and destroy on this thing.
With your mighty
This is
axe.
fantastic.
Yeah, and you're set up on the
Yes.
island over there, right? So I can maybe
Yes, I
come,
am, yeah.
maybe come visit later if I can
You're
bring.
more than welcome to come for a cup of dodo tea.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe a dodo scrambled egg breakfast.
Sounds perfect. All right, I will catch you
Yeah.
later then, Ren.
All right, thank you, Pixel. See you later, dude.
Take care of Deirdre! So while you folks have been watching that clip, I've been filling this platform up with wither roses, which is a difficult process and they have to be planted on netherracks, so it takes a lot of time and it's a little dangerous with mobs spawning occasionally. But how do we get hold of that many wither roses without a wither rose farm? Well, it turns out I could kind of make a wither rose farm quite easily, thanks to a design by Ep.24, which simply requires you to get hold of a lot of snow and a handful of carved pumpkins and then set up an apparatus in the end which can funnel snow golems into an area underneath the end portal where the wither is hanging out. The smart thing about this system is that it shears the snow golem's pumpkin off their head as they are created, meaning you just get the carved pumpkins returned to you to reuse in the dispenser, and the snow that's created by the snow golems along with the wither roses is more than enough to make the farm self-sustaining. It's a fantastic design. I'll leave a link in the description for those of you who want to check it out, and while I had to collect the roses manually, I got a couple of shulker boxes worth in a matter of just a couple of hours. With those, I was able to return to the farm and complete the rest of the platform, making sure that we had a barrier all around the outside of the farm so that the wither skeletons didn't interrupt me whilst I was placing the rest of the platform. Before long, this thing was absolutely cranking out wither skeleton spawns, so I had to be quite careful about the way the platform was constructed. I ended up doing it from one side and then the other just to make sure I didn't get too much heat from the wither skeletons, but eventually the whole thing was completely covered in netherrack and wither roses, making it a very effective wither skeleton spawning platform. Unfortunately, when next I returned to the overworld to get myself some food, as I'd taken a lot of damage by this point and I needed to eat, I found that the museum's newly hired security guard Joe Hills might have landed in a situation where he was in over his head. What the heck? Why is there Sculk everywhere? Seriously? Oh my god, what happened to the... Joe, what happened to the road, Joe?
Well, good news. It turns out that apparently Cub fans started putting Sculk catalysts everywhere. I discovered 2 of these relatively early. It's not super safe here, you might notice. I started marking all of the Sculk catalysts that I discovered. I initially was taping off any of the bad bits. This is gonna look like I've been doing a really bad job as a security guard. I fully acknowledge this does not look promising. I was just up here working on building like a security door that would like drop gravel in front of people if they broke blocks in here. But
that's a pretty cool idea. Can we sidebar into how cool an idea that is? That's a cool idea, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm still working on the redstone. The idea is that the block breaking signal is like 14, and I realized ultimately I'm gonna have to put these under the floor and have the wall or the emergency door come up from the bottom.
Oh, right, yeah,
these sensors would be out of range. Anyway, I found the first 2 Sculk catalysts, and I put them in the evidence locker here. And then I found another 90.
Oh my god, they're under basically everything I've built?
Yeah. Do you have one of these sticks? Have you used one of these? This was one of the first things I found when I came to this world.
Oh,
and
you're talking about like Matica? Yes. I actually use it a lot in my work here in the process of historical reconstruction. It's really useful for creating, holograms and simulations of stuff, like pre-visualizing the stuff that was here originally and I'm rebuilding.
So after I found the first 90 here, I used the stick to create a box that encompassed, as far as I could tell, all the chunks that make up your base. And I then looked at the manifest for what materials it would take to reconstitute those chunks. There's another 140 Sculk catalysts that I have not found yet.
200
But I just figured
them?
I'd give you a heads up on that.
Why? That's my main question is why? Like, what... To what end?
It might be some sort of protest. Cub fan mentioned that this place wasn't soulful enough.
You understand, right? The problem here is not just that... like, if you kill mobs around here, it will spread. The problem is, I tend to be here a lot just working on stuff. When the sun comes up, there's a couple of zombies and skeletons around, and they're just gonna die burning in the sunlight. When they die, they're gonna start spreading the Sculk on their own, without me ever being involved, and this place is gonna be covered in Sculk before long.
Yeah, so I wanted to show you, if you come down here, as I started plotting the data points of where these were, I've been placing a banner every time I found one. And that allowed me to extrapolate other locations.
You've needed a lot of wool for this.
Yes. So some of it did spread to the museum. Now, none of the exhibits have been affected. I made sure of that. In order to avoid these sorts of incursions in the future, we needed to open up this entire bottom floor. This is where the new door is going to come up from, as well as the sensors for people breaking blocks in the museum. But everywhere you see one of these banners, somebody snuck under here and placed a Sculk catalyst.
I don't know what to do about the Sculk stuff. I mean, the problem is it spreads to so many of these, like, natural blocks. So I think the best way to combat that seems to be with crafted stuff. So if we're able to maybe rope off this basement layer, but like surround it in something that's crafted by players, like concrete or maybe even wood planks, because it's not going to spread to those because the player has to have a hand in making them. Such a weird... like, I've no idea why Cub would do this.
In terms of the amount of effort put into this, though, like, if we just walk through here and you kind of just get a sense of how many of these banners there are, I don't want you to be alarmed. We can replace the dirt later, but I kind of wanted to make sure he wasn't about to do a second pass, because I'd like to point out this was Cub's first salvo, and he tends to escalate things.
Understood, yeah. So for the time being, everything's gonna kind of be an earthworks for a bit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more ruined than usual. There's some bits over here, too, where he just straight up buried them in the stone.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so I did some exploratory digging, but I doubt that I found all of them. I would basically assume anywhere in your base that you could kill something, you should run away instead.
That makes sense to me. None of the rest of this makes sense, but that sure does.
I really don't know what to think about this. I'm just trying to do my job, which is protect the museum. And I started mapping out the other things in other places to try and get kind of inside Cub's head better to protect the museum better. So I hope I didn't overstep.
Oh, no, not at all. No, this is all, I gotta say, outstanding work, and I can already see the sun going down, so I'm already eyeballing whether we should go back and find a bed at some point, but...
Yeah, there's a bed up here.
Well, I gotta say, Joe, this is outstanding work. Like, obviously, it feels weird with you having to, like, tear up all of the land around my base, but I am genuinely impressed with the amount of effort you put into cataloging where all of these things are. Like, that's above and beyond what I expected when I hired you for the job.
Well, thank you. So, to clarify, though, here's how I'm thinking we should scope moving forward. I feel like I've got a good sense of what Cub's thinking now. I'm going to limit my actual work from here on out to anything directly around the museum. The Sculk Catalyst has like an 8-block radius.
Yeah.
So I might go out like 16 blocks maybe, but this is a big area. And if I'm going to get that redstone door done at some point, I'm going to need to, narrow my search field. There's definitely at least a couple more somewhere near the museum, according to Lightmatica, and I have no idea where. So I'm going to be trying to hunt those down still.
Okay, well, I can probably take some scans of the area and figure out exactly where those are. So we might be able to get a more comprehensive mapping of the place. I've got some advanced tools that I think I can get onto the job pretty quickly. So yeah, leave that in my hands. You concentrate your efforts on the museum. I really like the door idea. I think that's a really smart idea. So yeah, hopefully we can get that moving and prevent anything like this happening again.
Well, I'll get on that. Thanks so much, Pix, for being so understanding, because I was a little bit worried when all this went down and you weren't around.
Oh yeah, no worries. It's fine. I've been working on a wither skeleton farm. I really just came back for more food, but now that I know this is happening, I'll be stopping by a little more often.
Yeah, that's probably a good move. Alrighty, catch you later, Pix.
All right, see you soon, Joe. So back here in the relative safety of the Nether, it's time for a progress update on the wither skeleton farm. As you can see, this thing is absurdly productive, and I've only got one floor done. I think I'm probably just going to do 2 floors, because in each of these floors, we need to have piglins on each of these pedestals. Those are going to be luring the wither skeletons in, and sending them down to the kill mechanism, which I should hopefully be able to simulate with this central one here, just to stress test the system and make sure it's capable of handling this amount of volume. So leaving those all hanging around there, if I glide in from the top and stand on this, they should all just pile down into this central area, where pressure plates are going to shuffle them around. If they come in from either side, they end up on a similar system of pressure plates, but then they get pushed along an ice road towards the center, and eventually they all end up on this rudimentary killing platform, where there are so many of them that they've started to glitch out. So, let's do something about that. The next step, of course, is to install some sort of hopper system here that we can store everything in a storage system, but I think in the meantime, we need to get working on getting some piglins in here so that we can just stand here at the bottom of the farm and collect all of the wither skeletons here without having to do anything. I will also need another piglin down here in the center of the farm, and that's really just to bait in the wither skeletons who land on either side, because otherwise the only thing to bait them inwards is the player. But the problem with getting piglins into this farm is that it's completely surrounded by warped forest, and the nearest other biome is a basalt delta over that way. So I'm going to need a bit of help if I want to get piglins in from further afield in a crimson or nether wastes biome, and for that, I've called in some assistance.
Oh, wow.
You found me.
Look at you.
Me and my groupies.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of skeletons in one spot.
Yeah, and all from this platform as well. And all I've been doing so far, I've got the kill mechanism set up and everything, but we need the bait in the center, and I've just been, like, swift sneaking around the edge of this and dragging them all with me.
Wow, you're going to be like the Beacon King.
I basically am. The only problem being, it's quite a distance to the nearest biome that actually spawns piglins, so we're probably going to have to bridge quite a way in order to get to a nether waste or a crimson forest.
I forgot my gold armor. I just realised.
Oh yeah, we can probably.
Not that you would know.
We can scavenge some from just like local gold deposits. We can get little like nether gold.
Fine. I can see some over there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I'll need 2 for the upper platform, 3 for this platform, and 1 below. So if we can just bait 6 piglins over here and get them trapped, I can probably
That
take
should
it
be
from
pretty
there.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just got a skull.
The filter with the skulls already has 41 skulls just sitting in the filter, so that's actually
Oh, yeah.
starting to add up now.
Because right now there's like at least 20, probably 30 river skeletons up the top here.
Yeah, no, there's tons. And with a second
I'm just
platform, they're just going to be spawning constantly.
Getting some flashbacks to like previous farms over the years, right? And just thinking how much more effort and whatnot they were.
Oh, you know what? There's a nether wastes closer than I thought, and there's a crimson forest right next to it. So I'm just going to try and find some workable terrain. I can see a couple of piglins already, so that's good news. Oh,
It looked like it went off to the left.
Yep, I got
Oh,
it
you're
in our.
using the area.
I got it in our little catchment area. There we go.
Nice.
That's looking good. We've got 6 of them. That should be enough for what I need. I've got 4 spots marked out.
Oh.
And yeah, taking a little bit of a hit there. Yeah, all I need to do is move them into these 3 spaces, which, to be honest, at this point, I might do with minecarts and rails.
Can they be in a minecart when you dump them into that little bit in the middle?
I think if they are, it's a little bit too close to the wither skeletons, and they can sometimes get hit. So I think I'll probably set up an activator rail and make sure it dumps them in that exact spot.
Dang, this is going to be a mega farm.
It really is.
Pump out the skulls.
It's quiet right now because we've loaded a bunch of other mobs over there, but I think once we clear this whole thing out again, it's going to be pretty impressive.
Well, I'm happy I can be of help.
Yeah, absolutely, and I need to pay you. So, do you want skulls?
Oh, payment?
Yeah. I mean, do you want skulls? Do you want a beacon that's made up already? Because I've got one of those back at home, but
I'll take the skulls.
he'll take the skulls. Yeah, having a wither fight is always a bit of fun. In fact, there are 7 skulls in here. So, how about you take enough for 2 wither fights? That'll get you a couple of beacons.
You're a generous man. Thank you.
One for at home and one for elsewhere. Because I've Pixlriffs, he's back.
Yeah, I got this. You know, on the way there.
Oh my goodness, when he takes off his helmet, he's a different man, I tell you.
That's what's hiding under this pirate hat.
Well, if they weren't already mad enough at me, I'm doing so much rearranging and rummaging in shulker boxes here just to make sure I've got the stuff I need, but I should be able to get a couple of these piglins into minecarts and then bring them all down into this area where the activator rail should, hopefully, in theory, dump them off into there. Of course, a theory like this always needs a bit of testing before it can be proven, and what better crash test dummy than myself? Let's hope this works, and okay, it puts me there. Not great. Alternatively, if I get the piglin in there, I should be able to break the minecart, just open up one of those trapdoors, and we shouldn't have too many troubles with it teleporting out to a different location. In theory. And this is going to be the dicey part, really, is getting the piglin into a minecart. Hey, but somehow we did it. Okay. Now, let's see if we end up with the piglin in the right spot. Perfect. Hopefully the wither skeletons won't be able to kill it in the meantime, and they don't seem that interested, actually. I don't think they can see the piglin quite yet. So let's cross our fingers. Let's break the minecart, and oh, it's ejected him into the farm. Oh, that's the worst. So let's try this again one more time with the block above there to make sure it's not a valid location. You know what? Maybe we'll try this with a wither skeleton instead. That seems like a fun idea. Depends heavily on your definition of fun, I suppose, but we got one. All right, let's give him a nudge. And he should be going in. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work out. You know what? Ridiculous though it may seem, I think we are going to have to bait these piglins across manually. I think the rail method just isn't working out for us. Okay, I now have what should be a fairly safe way to get me from this point here where I can break one of the piglin's boats down to the section where the piglin needs to stand inside the farm. If only I could reach them with my axe right now. I am really not keen on hitting any of these piglins. There we go. And now you. Oh gosh, yep, I'm immediately in this. This was a terrible mistake. Just kidding. I can jump out here on the end. The piglin is still following me, which is great. He should be able to follow me all the way to this hole where he will fall in. And the wither skeletons are already gathering around, although right now they are gathering around for me. But if I grab one of these slabs and put it over the piglin's head, they shouldn't be able to jump out of this central basket. I can tear down all of the slabs I built up around them, probably the stone blocks as well, like so. And now the piglin is exposed to the wither skeletons who, hopefully, fingers crossed, shouldn't be able to damage him. And hup, And I'm out. Now, eventually we are going to have to replace this slab with a block of netherrack so that we can build the floor above this. But frankly, since I'm not planning on building 3 floors into this farm, it should be okay. And this central part of the farm is likely to be the most productive as far as getting wither skeletons to fall down here, so it'll be interesting to see if any manage to drop on in. It sounds like we got a couple coming down. The problem is, with us AFKing close to the center of the farm, it's more likely for the wither skeletons to spawn on the extreme edges, like this massive cluster of them over here, which is why we need multiple piglins in place in order to really get this done. But you know what? We seem to be doing pretty well with that. Yeah, that was another unforeseen problem. I neglected to notice that I'd been placing top half slabs this entire time, and so now a wither skeleton has spawned and killed several of the piglins X and I gathered. Yep, it is absolutely time for celebration, lads, but I think I need to rely on the backup piglin that we have back there. My next problem is needing to split up these 2 piglins, so I'm going to try and position some boats around them in the hope that at least one of them should make it back into a boat and the other one can follow me. And we just managed to trap one in a boat over there. Let's try and get piglin number 2 in place. Why aren't you walking down into that? Let's throw a trapdoor on there for good measure. There we go, you're in there. I'm beginning to understand why Impulse and Tango both laughed when I said I was working on this. But anyway, thankfully, now piglin number 2 is in, and that should see the rates vastly improve. No, I just saw these guys spawn. Why is it that only wither skeletons are spawning at my wither skeleton farm? That is genuinely unbelievable, but I'm very thankful that they didn't take out this piglin right here. The problem now is, yep, that. Oh, I'm not in a good way. I'm not in a good way right here. Okay, back up, piglin. I guess it's your turn. Oh, thank goodness for that. Okay, there we go. Our 3 most important piglins are in, and if anything happens to them at this point, I will cry. But it looks like they're doing their job, so that's pretty good. And depending on how we set up the kill area, we might not actually need the 4th piglin down there. Because if I have line of sight to the wither skeletons coming in over there and over there, we might be able to bait them into the center of the farm ourselves. Well, my deep slate emerald ore may be gone and my base may be slowly covering itself in Sculk, but one thing is for certain, I have a very productive wither skeleton farm now. And while it doesn't look like it's all that noisy around here at the moment, we just need to hop down to this platform down here and you'll see what's up. Down here, the sound is a little more intense. And it turns out that this farm really cooks after a while. Like, you've seen the amount of wither skeletons that spawn up there on that platform, and we are basically directly below that platform. The skeletons are now coming in from either side. They take a minute or 2 to get back into position, but that piglin right there is really the MVP. He's trapped at the back there, making sure all of the wither skeletons end up getting funneled into this position. They occasionally spot the player, but the rest of the time, they're all just going to make their way down in here. But I was tinkering with this on stream, and some folks had some really smart ideas about how to resolve some of the issues I was having. When the wither skeletons would occasionally get stuck on that pressure plate inside of the slime block and would mean that the slime block wouldn't retract, folks said, why not just put a Sculk sensor down here? And that way, anytime a wither skeleton falls, it activates the slime block and it always retracts because the Sculk sensor can't stay on. So now the wither skeletons are pretty much always being funneled in towards the center of the farm that way. And all it's taken is the length of time it took me to describe that to you, and a bunch more skeletons have made their way into the chamber. So this thing is looking incredibly productive now. Within a 3-hour stream, we got close to 3 stacks of wither skeleton skulls. 2.5, give or take, because we've got these skulls in the hopper there as well. So we have a lot going on here, and that wasn't even using the farm constantly. That was really just me going in here and clearing out these skeletons when I felt like it. So while we could always do a lot more to optimize the farm in terms of making sure the entire perimeter is free of endermen and that kind of thing, I think we really have one heck of a farm here. And that also means one heck of a resource that I can trade, because I'm sure some people on this server would like to get hold of some wither skeleton skulls. I've already had a couple of offers, so hopefully we should be able to see a few people about getting them some withers, some beacons, and whatever else. But that, I think, is where we're going to wrap up this episode from Empire's SMP. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve whatever this situation is with Cub in an upcoming episode. For now, though, thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care. Bye for now.